lockdown orders here in the state of New York, to say the very least. And then on the other hand, head on down to Florida, where Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has opened beaches. He allows indoor dining, and masks are not mandatory in no-risk situations. Florida's population is greater than New York's, yet they have reported less COVID cases and less deaths. Columnist for the New York Post, Carol Markowitz, wrote a column on this very topic, and it was called Florida Puts New York to Shame in Rational Pandemic Policies, and she joins us now to discuss. Thank you so much for stopping by and joining us today. Carol, you actually headed down to Florida for a period of time. Then you came back to New York and you said the difference is drastic.
Yeah, the governor of Florida trusts the people. And so you see a marked difference in the way COVID is treated. It's not a scary, apocalyptic world down there. It's just regular life going on, but you take all the precautions and you wear your mask and you social distance and you try very hard not to get it, but you live your life.
Talk about the effect on the economies as well, Carol.
Well, I see help wanted signs all the time in Florida where I don't work, and that's a major difference. Just the fact that society goes on, that there's indoor dining, that each staff gets to work, that all the businesses that support restaurants get to stay open, matters, and it shows.
Yeah, we're having some issues with your audio right now, but I know some of the other things you talked about is when you look specifically at the number of cases and when you're of COVID. Yeah, when your article came out, Florida had a little over 15,000 new cases, and then New York, which has a lower population, had at that time on that day over 17,000 new cases. So why do you think that is if they're not wearing masks and not doing the lockdowns, but yet we are?
Well, I think it just goes to show that the lockdowns are ineffective. I think it doesn't matter that you closed indoor dining when it's only 1.4% of cases, and that's according to Governor Cuomo. So it's just not working. Lockdowns aren't working, and the sooner the North faces it, the sooner New York faces it, the better.
And do you think the people of Florida and the people of New York have different attitudes about it? And do you think it's connected to what their governors decided and whether that's politically oriented? In other words, we've got a blue state, we've got a red state.
Right. It absolutely has some of that. I think the media adoration for Governor Cuomo has also given him a real honeymoon period where he gets very little pushback from the media. In fact, I mean, he was famously interviewed by his brother over and over again during the height of the pandemic. I mean, my brother would give me good interviews too. And so you have a difference where the people just don't really get to see what the actual, they don't get to see him under pressure. They don't get to see him answering real questions.
Yeah. Well, Carol, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We're going to cut a little bit short just because of the audio issues, but a great article and everyone should check it out on the New York Post. Thank you. Yeah, it really is crazy, the difference when you leave one of those states and you come back to this state.
Oh, I know. We lived
really
in
tell.
Tennessee, and Tennessee is generally open. Schools are generally open. Every now and then they have to close up a little bit, but then they reopen. And now we've moved to Virginia. Everything's shut down. And it's completely different environment. And to me, just as a resident, I'd rather go with the Tennessee model. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, you got to trust the people that live in your state. Trust them to do the right thing. Trust them to, know what they need to do in different situations. And that, I think, is the big difference between what's happening in a large portion of this country right now.